What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Passive Tree Podcast, a podcast dedicated to talk about life, Path of Exile 2, and everything in between. I'm your host, Blaze, and tonight on episode 16, we have a fellow PoE2 streamer and HCSSF Giga Chad. It's none other than LePav. Welcome on, and how the heck are you doing, man?
Well, besides the fact that we died a couple times today, we're doing pretty well. Excited for the patch, excited for this podcast, and yeah, we'll see where the new journey takes us. We're excited for the journey. That's what it's about. Not where we end or how we
Absolutely.
die, but the journey.
Well, I have to say, first and foremost, my condolences, my friend, that it always sucks to lose a character. Lord knows I've died too many times, and too many times have been from the monkey himself. So I have been there. You're taking it way better than I normally do. Usually have to run to my girlfriend to get her to hold me for like an hour. So, I mean, you didn't have to do that. So you're chilling.
Yeah, I have Twitch chat to give me shit, so it's a lot better. It's a lot better.
Nice. And so you are you planning on going again tomorrow, or what's your plan for the next character?
Of course, of course. Just go every day. I kind of have like that mentality where it's again, it's just about the journey, trying something new, trying something different, improving. So that keeps the game fun, fresh for me, especially in hardcore. Hardcore SSF, that journey and that grind is always there.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about hardcore SSF. So, just to sort of rewind a little bit, I want to sort of get your, I guess, experiences with Path of Exile and sort of how you play the game and what sort of led you into, I guess, swapping over into hardcore solo self-found.
Yeah. So initially just I played the game since launch. And I started with softcore. I probably have like 1,000, 1,500 hours in softcore, and kind of just went through the whole game, and it just kind of got to a point where I realized I'm not even playing the game anymore. Like, I'm not doing the mechanics. All I'm doing is just grinding currency. So I'm just, what's the best way to get divines, the most divines, and then just going through that loop. And I think after so many hours, it just gets kind of bland. Trying it on so many different characters, maxing out characters. Yeah, it just kind of reaches a point where it's just like, what more can I do? And I tried hardcore SSF, I tried Timmy's League, and I enjoyed it a ton. It kind of brought the initial love that I had for the game back, refreshed
Dude,
it.
I totally agree, man. And my journey through PoE2 is essentially the same as you, where I started off in trade, learned the game, learned all the bosses and stuff like that, and kind of understood how everything was, how everything was. Went to HCSSF after getting extremely bored, just like waiting for divine tanks to drop. And yeah, like it kind of refreshes your like love for the game because everything means so much more in hardcore solo self-found. Like, especially starting fresh, like you're on the beach, you're finding like a blue item and you're like, yo, this is an upgrade. And that whole like progression, I think just the feeling of progression just gets extended. So I wanted to ask you, like, um,
Yeah.
how has the basically the hardcore solo self-found experience been for you? What are some like, things you really like about that? And what are some things that obviously besides dying a couple times in a day, what are some things you're not liking about it so far?
Um, so you said like things I like about it and things I
Mhm.
dislike about it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what I like about it is just the progression, kind of that itemization and search for gear. The impact of each item is so much more on hardcore, including saving gear for future characters. And it just makes the game, it feels like that's what the game is supposed to be. Right. And it's not like, oh, I'm waiting for my first couple of exalts so I can buy this one weapon that's just going to allow me to power through the gear, right? Or the game. It's like, I got this weapon. Holy crap, this weapon is going to last me 2 acts now. Or it might last me like the whole game if it's like late and cruel or something like that. And I think that's what I love about hardcore, or what I love about the SSF. The hardcore is just the um in SSF, even when you die, your progress is there. So you're always kind of like, you never fall down the steps. You're always kind of like down the same, like when you fall, you're on the same step and you keep climbing. In hardcore, you're down at the bottom, right? And just for that, I enjoy that. So yeah, as far as what I don't like, I think it's just within the game. So the mechanics, crafting, the kind of diversity and skill support gems in builds. Uh, I was talking with a viewer today. You're kind of limited with you can start out pretty open in like Act 1, even Act 2. Once you get to Act 3, you have to get very targeted into whatever you want. So that's kind of what I dislike about it is kind of just the game needs more time to develop. And so yeah.
Absolutely. We'll get into the nitty gritties of our like positives and negatives about the whole game because I think that's just a whole other conversation that I'm super looking forward to having with you. Just to sort of
Yeah.
touch upon like your points about like hardcore solo stuff, I completely agree, man. Like it feels like when you're playing HCSSF or SSF, you're actually like engaging with like the game mechanics and all the things you're kind of forced to, right? And it's
Yeah.
nice to actually like not be thinking about items in terms of like how much can I get for this or what can I buy or trade with this item. It's more so like how can I make this item work for my build, like oh I just got a unique that I haven't found before. Like all of these things provide like more like excitement playing the game, and especially when the game doesn't have as much to do and we're playing it as much as yourself or myself when I can. It's like I think that it extends that like joy and that fun in the game as well. So I'm addicted to it. I
Yeah,
don't think I
absolutely.
can go back until like trade gets fixed because I don't know, man. It's a special way to play the game. I honestly like if you guys aren't playing hardcore solo self-found and you're feeling bored right now, just log in, dude. Log in and play. Try it out. Like see how far you can get. Set a challenge for yourself if you can beat, acts like 3 normal and see how it goes.
Yep. Yeah. Step by step.
Yeah. So one final question about hardcore soul self-found until we I like how we sort of dove right into PoE instead of kind of getting into like the early like stuff. We'll get into that shortly. But I just wanted to ask you, like, if you were, you
Got
probably get
time.
a lot of you probably get a lot of questions like in your chat about like tips and tricks and stuff like that. So I wanted to get like your like distilled like Pav sort of what would you recommend or tips and tricks wise for hardcore soul self-found? Any like key advice that you provide to people?
It's kind of vague, but in just general principles that I go by, I guess, are like for each act, for act 1, 2, 3, I do minimum 30% resistance. So act 1 is cold, act 2 is lightning, act 3 is kind of a mix. Act 3 also has with Viper and Queen of Filth, you have poison and chaos. So that kind of flows into that. But that's one thing I would focus on. And then in Cruel, try to get that up to 40 and 50, respectively, for each of the Cruel acts. And then from there, generic check vendors really does help. Pick up items, don't be lazy. If you just want to make it work and not make your time uh waste your time in the long run, just pick them up, recycle them, get your gold, and yeah, that's kind of all I can really say for campaign. And you'll learn. You'll learn. There's nothing I can really concrete give you. Each build, I can give you more specific things if you come into my chat and ask me these, but as concrete, you know, general tips, that's it.
I love it. I love the
Go
don't
try
be
it.
lazy and pick up items. Like, bro, I'm rolling around with 80 scrolls of identify or scrolls of wisdom in my inventory at all times when I'm playing, and I'm literally picking up everything and like, hitting it with the og transmute or transmute og, and then if it's trash, just throw it in the ground. And yeah, it's fun. It's fun to pick up items. That's that's why we play the game, like to find loot, right? So yeah, dude, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I want to rewind even more. Usually, I start off the podcast with sort of like a little bit of an introduction about you. And because this is our first time that we got to sit down and chat, I would love to learn sort of your story about gaming. So, when did you start gaming, man? Tell me a little bit about what you were playing on when you were a kid and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So I started gaming, I think when I moved to the US, so which was like 98. I'm originally from Serbia. Um, so yeah, I had a PlayStation 1 my grandpa bought me because he was the one, him and my mom lived here, they worked here. And yeah, from just coming over, I played PS1 games. I played like really like kind of kids games, so like Pokemon, not Pokemon, sorry, like Power Rangers. And like there was a really game I liked called Toomba 2. It was kind of a like a platformer type game in that time. I enjoyed a lot of the PS1 like demo discs. I enjoyed Gran Turismo, like the original one. I'm trying to think. I enjoyed a lot of the old like sports games. Yeah, I have a lot of them still in my disc. Like I have the disc holder that you would have for all your games. I still have that. And then from there, I kind of transitioned. The following year, my parents got me a Game Boy Color Advance, or not Advance, sorry, Game Boy Color. And yeah, kind of just kept the ball rolling. I got Pokemon Red. That was my first game for that. I loved it. That's when I fell in love with Pokemon. Fell in love with cards, and yeah, just kind of kept going. Got a PS2. Uh, yeah, and just been gaming ever since. My gaming's been a part of my whole life, and uh, yeah, every which way I found balance with it, and I've enjoyed it. And yeah, I couldn't
That's
imagine my
amazing.
life without gaming.
I love it. I love it. I love how you brought up Pokemon Red. That was also my first game that I got for like the Game Boy Color as well. And I don't
Mhm.
think I ever was as addicted to a game when I was like a young kid as I was to Pokemon Red. Like my Game Boy lived in my hand, dude, when I was playing that game. And I found it so like um crazy that they made like two different versions. So like my brother got like blue and then I had red and we could like trade with each other and like evolve our Pokemon together and like he would have Pokemon that I couldn't get, so we'd have to like it was just like a special fucking game, and the design of that it
Yeah,
was like
that's
it's
it.
awesome, yeah. So you know you came over from Serbia, you got a PS1, and then you got a Game Boy. When did you sort of like make the transition into like PC gaming?
Yeah. So I think before that, I think my big transition was like in high school when like my freshman year I started doing online gaming. So before that I always had like the network adapter for the Xbox 360. Um, but like I never really played online and got like the point of it. And then kind of I met friends and I started playing Grand Theft Auto online. I started playing like Call of Duty at that time, COD 4, and I was like, "Holy crap, this is so amazing." And that was kind of like my breakthrough to online. And then kind of fast forward to end of like senior year, I started to realize like there's this whole like PC kind of space. And yeah, I started playing that. One of my first games on PC was Diablo 3. So yeah,
Okay.
and then been on PC since then.
Okay, nice, dude. So I got a follow-up question for you. So you've been gaming for a long time. Could you name me a few like games that sort of left like a lasting impression on you as a gamer, like as a kid? I know you mentioned Pokemon and stuff like that, but what games like stood out to you at being like, damn, like I still think about how good that game was, like now, you know?
Ooh, it's that's a tough one because like I would say like the today's modern games over it takes so much.
Okay.
Like
You
they're
can say
so
PoE too,
good.
bro. It's fine. It's fine.
Like, but no, like Elden Ring is so good. God of
Mhm.
War is really good. Games like that kind of like take the cake for me. And like early God of Wars were really good, but I think like the new ones were so much better. So I would say
Mhm.
like a lot of new games. Definitely God of War is up there for me. Elden Ring, a lot of Dark Souls games. Yeah.
Nice, dude. Yeah, like those are definitely iconic games for sure. I think everybody
Yeah.
can agree that Elden Ring has been like on people's top fives ever since it dropped. It's like probably one of the best games that we've seen in the last like decade. I'm saying that as someone who hasn't beat the game, but I've definitely played it and it was pretty fun. Um, so yeah, I wanted to kind of move on into streaming stuff. So you're sort of like a newer content creator and streamer in like the aRPG space. But you've been streaming for like the last like 133 days, which is crazy. So I just wanted to ask, like, how's your
Yeah.
experience been with streaming? Have you been streaming only Path of Exile? And yeah, just tell me a little bit about how that's going, man.
Yeah. And so I've always wanted to stream, but I never really had kind of a drive. There's like I tried before with CS:GO. I played an immense amount of CS:GO. And I kind of just never I don't know, I didn't enjoy it that much. With the community that Path of Exile has, that dragged me to start streaming. So like Rabbit, Prada, Timmy, all these really good content creators. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to be a part of that. And Yeah, that kind of dragged me to start. And then as far as like just what drags me every day, I love PoE. I love the community that I built kind of with it. And yeah, yeah. Shout out to Mixtape there. Yeah, I just want to give this man a little praise. Yeah, he's a big part of my community. So
So you said basically the community aspect of streaming has been like a big part of it for you. I think that like that particular part of streaming is super special in the gaming sphere. It's really nice to be able to like have a community of people that you're gaming with, that you're vibing with. And I'll reiterate because I just said this with my mic muted, but I found your stream a couple weeks ago. Immediately was like, yo, this guy's chill, great music, great vibes, and so I'm looking forward to hanging in there whenever I see you online, bro.
yeah, thank you, man. No, that's what I look to have more than anything is just like a cool place to hang out. People that can help each other out in the game, and just like vibe, have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. So 133 days is a long time for like to be streaming consecutively. Like, how long do you see this like streak going? Like, do you have like a goal in mind, or where you want to be like, I want to do like a year straight, or like where are you at with that?
Um, there's no really no end goal. It's really just day by day stream as so my life with the situation I have a little bit more freedom right now. So I try to be grateful for that and stream as much as I can. And yeah, it's nothing more than just stream every day. Stream as much as I can and because I enjoy it too. So
That's amazing.
we'll see. We'll see how where the journey takes us and how long we go, but I'm loving it.
That's awesome. Yeah, like I want to see how high we got, guys. We got to get like a bet going. Like when does when does this streak end? Like we gotta get some guesses in the chat right now. How many days is it gonna go in a row? So yeah, you said you love PoE, and PoE was kind of like the game that really like pushed you into like the content creation like and streaming part of your journey. And so I just wanted to ask you like, what about the game in general made you sort of fall in love with it to the point where you wanted to like put yourself out there and start like streaming it?
I think just the community. The community, playing the game so much. I think seeing a lot of people ask a lot of questions, that was one, just to engage with it. I would go into streamers chat and I would talk a lot. And I think that seeing how welcoming everyone is and how yeah, that just kind of made me instantly like, okay, I want to be a part of this. I want to try to start something within this. And yeah, it's been going well and I'm very thankful for it. Just taking it day by day and it's already surpassed what my expectations were, which is like if I can get 4 or 5 people just hanging out and we get a little like party going, that's wow. And it's, where it's gone now, it's I'm so super happy with. So grateful for.
That's super cool. Thanks for sharing that, man. Yeah, like, as we talked about before, like the community is awesome, but the game is also super fun too. Like, that's kind of what got me into it at first, like starting a YouTube channel, which is, I just really love playing the game. And I've never really had a game that I've been playing for this long that I've still enjoy. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, we're part of the minority right now playing Path of Exile 2, like, a few weeks before like point 3 drops, and that's just out of the love for the game, man. And then on as a cherry on top, like the community for the game is fantastic. Like everybody that I've met, like yourself included, a lot of different content creators and stuff like that. Like they all have really awesome communities of people, and so it's like a win-win with the game. Like I'm loving it, and the community aspect is also really great.
Yeah, no, I agree. 100%.
Okay, so I want to talk to you about music for a bit. So when I first dropped into your stream, I was like, "Oh shit, this guy's playing some like Purple Posse. Like I've never really heard any streamers rocking like Soudier and shit." So tell me a bit about
Hmm.
your music taste. It's
That
it's
funk.
quite as I've like watched your streams over the last like couple days, I've noticed you go through like a lot of different like genres and stuff like that. So describe to me sort of like maybe when you were a kid, what you're listening to and how that sort of like developed into like your I'll say eclectic music taste.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I think early on, like when I was young, I listened to just everything like that was popular. So hip hop, pop, like alternative rock, just kind of everything. And then once I got to high school, kind of filtered into just primarily rap. So like early, like J. Cole, Trying to think who else was at that time. Like there's rappers like Charles Hamilton. They're not big anymore, but they were big at that time. And then kind of just developed after high school as I got older into EDM. And yeah, I think as far as the funk kind of just came with the hip hop. I uh I think today's rap is kind of garbage, if I'm being honest. And I think like probably like 10 years ago, I kind of started transitioning to funk more because it just kind of suited the style. It was very chill. And like lo-fi was good, but it wasn't like I always wanted the trap kind of version of it. So that's where funk came in. And yeah, I listened to a lot of EDM, like kind of going post like high school, I in college, going to a lot of like concerts, festivals, stuff like that. And yeah, as I've gotten older now, though, I tend to gravitate towards like more authentic music, like older music that include instruments. So like actual like rock bands, like Black Sabbath, Aerosmith, just to name a few, Arctic Monkeys, just kind of random bands like that. So a little bit older, and yeah. But I'm always mixing it up on stream because I can't listen to too much of one thing.
For sure. Music's sort of like a it's kind of depends on for me whatever mood I'm in. So like that changes on the day to day, and even if I'm in like the same mood, like happy, I'll still change what type of music I'm listening to. I'm like you. Like I started off listening to hip hop. I think like golden era stuff was like still is my favorite. Like '90s hip hop. You know, like Big L, Tupac, Biggie, like Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, like all like the big heavy hitters from the '90s. Like one person actually that sort of opened my mind up to like sort of the older music was MF Doom. I don't know if you ever got into MF Doom, but his like sample game is insane, dude. Like I would listen to all when I was a kid, I would listen to MF Doom and just think, wow, this guy makes really fucking sick music. And then I didn't realize that all of his beats were sampled from like old songs. And so I started looking up like, you know, where did MF Doom sample all of these tracks from? From like Food or Doomsday or whatever. And then that actually introduced me into like a ton of different artists that I'd never heard of before. You know, like the Blackbird, Steely Dan, and like, dude, his sample game is insane. And that's one of the beautiful
Yeah.
things about hip hop is like these DJs like Premier, you know, Jay Dilla and stuff like that. They're all sampling like songs that they're inspired by. You know, it could be like funk, soul, jazz, whatever. And so they're actually like literally handing you on a platter, like, yo, you should listen to this as well. But they're making new music with it, which is something super special.
Yeah, that's a really cool perspective on it. I think normally, like, I'd kind of do the same thing, which is I gravitate towards like samples, like, oh, I've heard this before, so I try to like find like the original or something like that. But I've never thought that they're like artists are using this to kind of get you to listen to the original. And yeah, that's a cool way. That's a cool thought process. So I'll try to like think of that more often now too when I listen to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I
Uh,
have a full playlist on Spotify that's dedicated to like hip hop sample tracks, like tracks that are featured in like prominent stuff. So I'll send that your way
mm.
if you're like ever interested in like listening to some of this stuff. It's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like, so with like to the old rap, like I do listen to some of it, but that's like one area that I'm kind of weak with. Like MF Doom, I'm not really familiar. I've heard of him. I know he's like one of the top goats when it comes to lyrics, being a lyricist and kind of that avenue. But yeah, that's like some spots I could probably learn more. So yeah, love to hear your playlist at some point.
For sure, bro. I think I'm a little bit older than you, just kind of judging by our like music tastes and stuff like that. So happy to share the knowledge,
Yeah.
spread the love. You know what I mean?
Do you release how old you are?
Yeah, 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 bro. So I'm turning 33 in a couple weeks. What about you?
30. I'm turning 32 this year, so we're pretty similar. I think we're
Boys, I
similar,
just
dude.
judged this man. Please, please forgive me, guys. This is a no judgment zone. Okay, I thought this guy was a bit younger than me. Maybe it's just because I haven't seen his face before. I'm looking. He looks young, guys. Come on, look at this guy.
No, I've gotten that before, so it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, for sure. Old man. All right, so let's talk about ARPGs, guys. We talk about ARPGs as like a primary focus of this podcast, but love talking life, love talking all that kind of stuff too. So you said that Diablo 3 was sort of your introduction to the ARPG genre. Can you just break down for
Mhm.
me like how did you feel playing your first ARPG and like what sort of stood out to you that made you like kind of fall in love with the genre of game?
Just an initial kind of gear grind, right? And like progression of dropping like this one gear. And early on, like even then when I played it, I my perception of aRPGs was not there. So I have never played Diablo 2. So people that played it have this
Oh,
understanding of
bro.
market, long game, like the end game of it and how that works. And at that time, I didn't understand that. So like me beating campaign was like I had fun with that, and that was the game for me. So and I took that same thing, same mentality to Path of Exile. Like the following year when it released, I played that, but it never really like that end game. I never fell in love with it. I think I was too young at that time to enjoy it as much as I do now.
Got it. So, would you ever like go back and play Diablo 2? As a sort of a side note, you're the second person that I've interviewed that actually Diablo 3 was their first aRPG. And I think that like if you played Diablo, it's the way that I describe it is like how PoE 1 players look at PoE 2 as like you know, yeah, I'm a Diablo 2 guy. That's my favorite game ever. And so when I think about Diablo 3, I'm like, oh, like I'm cringing a bit. That game was like so mid. But if you played Diablo 3 first, it was probably an awesome
Mhm.
time. And it still is like a really great game as sort of like an introduction to the genre. So like, do you think you'd ever go back and like try D2 out?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And who got me into it was I had a buddy who's a big ARPG guy and he played Diablo 2. And he asked me to play and that's what got me into it. And but yeah, he also asked me to go try D2 remastered, and that's something I do want to try. So many people say it's great, and just like I went back and played Path of Exile 1, and I'll probably go play it again at some point. Yeah, I'd love to play it. I want to try them all. Like I'm always been that type of gamer where I'll try it, and I'll play it, and I want my own opinion. I don't want something that's filtered. So yeah. But if so many people say it's great, I'm definitely, it's probably great. It's
Absolutely.
probably
Well,
great.
it is great. And the thing about Diablo 2 is, and this is sort of a side note here, but it was the inspiration for Path of Exile 1, right? So, I think a lot of these games that we know and love right now, like, Path of Exile 2 takes massive inspiration from Diablo 2. So when you go through that game eventually, you'll see like how much inspiration really they took from it. And it's pretty crazy to see like it really feels like PoE 2 is sort of like an evolution of like Diablo 2 and Path of Exile 1 together, which is super cool.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've definitely heard of that, even from my friends as well. But yeah, I guess my experience is just Path of Exile 2, right? So yeah.
So tell me a bit more about your like journey through PoE 1 because you said you started playing it but you're a little bit too young. So like how much have you like engaged with that game or played that game since it came out in like 2013? Like did you play it on like a regular basis or was it kind of like you tried it and then you stopped? Like what where were you at there?
So I played it initially when it came out. I think it's hard to remember like my feelings at that time. I just know I wasn't really like that wasn't my type of game. I was more into shooters. So like Call of Duty at that point I was starting to get into kind of that CS:GO uh craze, and I was enjoying that. And just more I think with how I was like I was more fast paced. I was always active, so I think I was more drawn to more active play. And kind of so to continue with Path of Exile 1, uh yeah, I played it kind of sparingly throughout the years, just here and there when the game looked good. The most I've played it, I would say, is the recently, like the last like 3 years. I've tried it a good bit. So yeah, I probably have like 150 hours, 200 hours in all of Path of Exile 1. Yeah, primarily with all the new leagues. So the last two leagues is where a majority of my hours are from.
Got it. Okay, so 200 hours. So you're like still in the tutorial phase of the game, as many players would say. You're still learning the ropes, like myself. I only have like 30 hours in the game. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing in Path of Exile 1. But um, so what sort of differences and similarities can you maybe speak about? Like you've clearly played Path of Exile 1 before, but you probably have like, I want to guess 1,000 plus hours in PoE 2 at this point. Like What about Path of Exile 2 was so different about PoE 1 for you that made you want to play it that much more?
Um, I don't know, just playing I think initially just playing it right off the bat, I just enjoyed it way more. I enjoyed the campaign way more. My first playthrough of PoE2 was like I played it for I think it was like 40 hours, 45 hours. I played it really slow. I didn't use the market. And I enjoyed it a ton. And I think that's also why I kind of came back to hardcore uh and hardcore SSF because that journey, it reminded me of that first time playing PoE2. And yeah, I don't know, just it really I think the number one thing I think about PoE2 initially is just the art style, the interactions with the abilities is really crisp. It's really good. I don't think there's any aRPG on the market that you can say looks better than Path of Exile 2. There's hands down the best one, best looking one. And I think that playing in with the factors that it's got a good base. There's a good base there. Yeah. I think that's what draws me more to PoE2. And I don't, like you said, I don't have to read a novel or a guidebook or like 10 guidebooks on different mechanics to learn how to play the game and to enjoy it, right? The game is kind of at a stage where it's digestible.
Absolutely. I feel like that's obviously part of, I guess, the vision of the game is that like Path of Exile 1 is very much so dedicated. Sorry, not dedicated. Path of Exile 1 is very much so being developed for those like hardcore, like the hardcore player base, not the league hardcore, but the people who have sunk thousands of hours into the game. The people that we will become after PoE 2 has been out for like 10 years. If you're still playing it and I'm still playing it, we will be that player base that they're developing the game for right now. And so it makes sense that they're sort of like pivoting from that into a new game that's sort of getting new players and new faces into the Path of Exile universe, which I think was a massive part of the goal. And they were successful, right? Like they had their biggest launch ever, bigger than any Path of Exile 1 league was the early access launch of PoE 2. And yeah, so I totally agree with you. The visuals, it's not. I'm like I've been playing games for so long, and I don't think that like graphics matter as like a first and foremost for me, but it really does make it nice to look at and play when the graphics are just so crisp. Like the animations are so nice. Another thing that I love about PoE 2 is just the sound design. Like if you ever take a sec to just listen to like the sound effects and like all of the different things happening, like your ears are just like happy, like everything, all the
Mhm.
lightning like effects and fire and explosions, it's just they did such a good job with that. And I totally agree with you, the foundation of the game is just incredible, and it's got me really excited for how it's going to progress in the future.
Yeah, and with the graphics, it's just that I think every ARPG you load into, it's not that it's bad. Like PoE1 is the best system ARPG out there. It's just that it looks 10 years old. And this is the first one where, like when I zoomed in earlier today to fight in campaign, it looks like a Dark Souls fight, right? The boss looks so detailed. It looks and it just adds that extra element along, like you said, the sound is so good in the game, right? All the bosses have like mechanics tied behind sounds, and yeah, great experience, great immersive experience.
So what were like some standout moments for you when you played through the campaign for the first time? Like, did you have a favorite boss or a couple of different bosses? Did you have like a favorite zone? Like, where were some areas in the game where you were just like, holy shit, like this is awesome?
Yeah, so like my favorite boss, I think in the entire game or entire story, I guess, is Gianor. Like he's I don't know, just so well polished. The entire boss fight, the arena feels good. Yeah, it just feels like they just hit the nail on the head with that boss fight. With all of Act 1 in general. Uh so I would say he's probably my favorite boss fight. My least favorite, the one that's always giving me trouble, and I think this is like it for most players, right? It's like Viper, Queen of Filth, Silver Fist, right? There's some honorable mentions in like Blackjaw in there. But yeah, those are like you can reverse any of those at any point, and I think all of those give me pain. Viper, I think the most probably the most.
Dude, yeah. Why is Act 3 so fucking rippy, dude? Like you play through Act 1 and it's like I get it. It's the first act. It's not supposed to be so difficult. And then I guess the difficulty kind of increases with Act 2 where you have to fight like uh shit, I forgot what the first boss's name is. I should know this. And then Ruja, who um yeah, the guy with the hyenas, the hyena
half
boss.
horse. Yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
God. Why am I
yeah.
blanking on his name
I'm
right now?
blanking on this too, and I've fought this guy a million times. But yeah, him, I think Ruja, they're kind of like they can fuck you up. Like Ruja has that like grenade on a stick ability where if you get hit by that, you don't have enough like fire resistance and armor, you're just dead. And so, but
True.
yeah, then you
That's a big one.
yeah, and then you get to Act 3, and it's just like, bro, why are all of these bosses like gonna kill me in one hit? Like I don't know about you, but after playing hardcore SSF for like I don't know 800-900 hours or something, I have like PTSD from the jungle ruins. Like I get to the ziggurat encampment and my heart starts like palpitating. I'm like, oh my god, dude, I have to go through the jungle ruins now, and I have to. And they did this thing. I know they did it intentionally, bro. Where every single ruin in that area looks like where Silverfist spawns, and all of the gorillas make the exact same sound as him. So I'm like paranoid as shit running through the jungle, hearing all of these like monkeys screaming at me and seeing all these ruins being like, yo, is this the one? Yo, is this the one? And yeah, so I have PTSD from him for sure.
Yeah, no, my motto, as soon as I hit jungle ruins, it's like stay to the side, usually just hug the right side. And then for his ruin looks a little bit bigger, and you'll kind of know it once you reach a little bit farther north. And yeah, just stay away. I feel like there's times that I've beat him, or I beat him like 4 times through a campaign run, but it's just he'll always end it. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it.
On my newest playthrough, I've skipped him now. I'm like level 62 or something, and I haven't even killed him the first time yet. I'm just like, I don't want to throw away all these 2 days of progress just for these 2 damn talent points. Like I can wait, I can just one shot him later when I'm more geared. And so I'm a coward. I know if Angormus was here, he'd be calling me a coward right now as well. Guys, one of my other tips for the for hardcore solo Southbound is like you don't have to fight all of the bosses. Some of them aren't linear. So Mighty Silverfist, Blackjaw, all these bosses in Act 3 that are extremely rippy, like you can fight them and have the most exhilarating 30 seconds of your life until you get one tapped, or you can just come back later and save yourself the beach trip, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's literally it's kind of like, do you want to, it depends on what build you're going. If you're going rake, obviously it's not really that difficult, right? But if you're going like a minions, right, you're probably going to want to not fight him because your minions are going to block the way and you're going to get that nice little pillar rammed up in a happy spot. So yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's sort of talk about your most impactful deaths. I've shared with you a few of my clips as well. Let's talk about death in hardcore solo Southbound. Something that always happens. It's always going to be a thing that happens. Eventually, if you play for long enough, just like life. This is getting grim. Sorry. But yeah. So basically, tell me what were some of your deaths. Maybe tell me what happened today with your characters. Maybe talk about some of the other deaths you had in the game, and sort of what maybe those deaths have taught you about like how to get better at the game or ways to improve. I feel like all these deaths are kind of like like all the deaths that I've ever had are like lessons. Like how did I fuck up? How can I get better at the game? So love to hear your take on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I 100% agree. Every death is kind of a lesson or something you learn from a boss, or at least you want to. Um, Once you get to kind of end game, some of the deaths can be rough because, like, I've had deaths like today was 100% my fault, right? You're just kind of zoned out. I think you've played so long. Um, there's just certain things you kind of space out on, and I spaced out on meditate that, 6K is not enough. You need 10K, and boom. There's times sometimes like where I've had my death where someone's you'll have like one of those mages from the dreadnought that pop the corpses. Sometimes they'll hide behind a pillar and kind of end your life, and it's not really your fault, but that's just the game. So I mean, you just gotta accept it. not about the end result, but it's about the journey. It's just about enjoying the game. So if you're not enjoying the game, if the death has you really beat up, don't, I'd say take a break. Maybe go play softcore, run some maps. So yeah, for me, like I think the initial pain hurts, but then after like 5 minutes, I'm over it. I'm already thinking the next build, what's fun? Let's get to maps again. Let's chase this. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful way to look at it, and I think that only comes with so much experience playing Hardcore Soul Self-Found. Because I don't know about you, bro, but when I started, I was so attached to these characters. Like, I'd be like, "I can't play. I'm done Hardcore Soul Self-Found. I'm going back to Trade League." And then the next day, I'd go log into the game and be like, "But Trade League sucks," and then just make a new character and go back in. And now I can die and literally just go again, like, immediately. So it takes a bit of time to get that tolerance, that pain tolerance up, you know?
Yeah, I mean, look at it this way. All the characters are going to standard at some point. So if you really like the character, just leave him in standard. And then there you go. He's always
And that's
there.
And that's the cool thing about PoE too, where a lot of hardcore ARPGs don't have sort of like that transfer, right? Where if you die on a hardcore character, it's just a ghost. Like you log in on Diablo 2 and you look at those ghosts, you're like, fuck, like I spent so much time. Now they're just like unplayable. It's cool that you could actually still continue if you want to on Path of Exile 2, which I think is a big W that a lot of people don't talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just there. I like to keep him as like a memento. It's like a gravestone, right? And yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so let's talk about crafting specifically in like SSF and HCSSF. So going from playing like Trade League, did you do a lot of crafting? Like, were you using omens? Were you using like, recombinator fractures, or were you just mainly currency stacking, divine stacking, and selling? And how has that changed? How has your experience with trade and crafting changed playing hardcore SSF?
Um yeah, no, I mean genuinely when I first started, it was like I said, I played through campaign, no trade market. Then once I started getting an idea of what the trade market was, it like really quickly for me flushed into what's the most meta way to get divines, and then I quickly just started doing Sekima's grind, started grinding for the not the last flame, but the vase relic. Um, that drops the ATD, and then started just flushing currency, and then that's generally how I made it in softcore for standard, and then this league I did it through Trials of Chaos. So yeah, softcore has always been what's the most efficient way to get currency. Um, maybe not most efficient way, but yeah, what's the most efficient way? And then as far as crafting in softcore, that's I've only experimented with omens because recom is really you're never gonna recom a piece of gear that's better than you can buy on the market in softcore, and that goes for anything. You're really never gonna drop or craft a piece of gear unless you're willing to invest thousands of divines into it, and so it's yeah. So crafting it really never developed more. At the end of this league, I kind of tried to do a little bit and learn about omens before I went to hardcore SSF. So I spent around like 500 divs on a pair of gloves. And I just kind of learned what everyone learns, which is, you can get the rolls. It's just, you take your omens and you slap the slot machine, the chaos. I don't know what the omen's called for the lowest modifier, and you set it for the prefix or the
Dwindling?
suffix, and
Or sorry, no, not dwindling. Oh my god, I can't remember either. Sorry to interrupt you, bro.
yeah, but
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, you're good. But yeah, and then you just slot machine that, and then you hope based on the tiers. I mean, you look up the tiers on Craft of Exile, and yeah, you hope you get, you know, the one you're looking for. And it just felt empty when I transitioned to hardcore SSF, which is what made me fall in love with this. I started engaging with that, right? Like expedition wasn't about, oh, I'm just looking for logbooks. Now it's about I'm looking for artifacts to recom certain gear, to go to the the expedition guys and buy gear and roll these pieces now. um you know on my guy that just died, 4 pieces were recommed. So it's a really good tool. It's just you can't really see it in softcore. Um, omens are really good too. They're just so far and few in SSF that it's not realistic. It's not realistic. You could set a bunch of ritual grinds and grind for it, but it's just yeah, you're not going to get too far.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think with trade, I think the common, opinion is that it's all about return on investment. And sorry for getting whittling omens of whittling wrong, but if you find an omen of whittling in a ritual and you're on Trade League, you're selling that shit immediately for divines. There's not even the chance that you're going to use that because the chance of you getting the divine's worth of that omen is so slim. And that's the beautiful thing about SSF is like you see that thing and you're actually so excited not to sell it, but maybe you have a piece of gear that you have like T1s and T2s on, but then there's that pesky like T6 or T5 and you can just pray and you can slam and pray. And so it's cool to actually like interact with those things. And I love that like SSF sort of incentivizes you to do that. Like when you see that omen, those omens in the ritual, you're like, oh shit, like this is awesome because it actually could benefit me in my gear, not like, it could benefit my currency amount.
Yeah, no, 100%, especially in the end game, right? Like when you have like for me, it was I had a near perfect ring and it was one suffix. So like just getting something that's not like fizz damage leech, right? Fizz damage as life, something like that is or just getting an extra res that I can offload on something else is big. Yeah. And just getting different omens, like the omen that refills your life and
Oh,
energy
chef's
shield.
kiss. Amazing.
Right, and there's certain ones that aren't applicable, but, um, yeah, I think they just need to increase the amount that we get it because 'cause we're just not getting enough. Um, I don't know if they can set certain trees, like Atlas trees. I mean, this is a whole different discussion for SSF and, for original to or some type of system, I don't know, but, it's just, not enough for SSF or hardcore SSF players to for it to be a viable, sync. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally hear you, man. Like it's funny with Omen specifically, they've actually like reworked the drop rates like I think like 3 or 4 times now. Like
Yeah.
like back in
Yeah.
point 1, you would never see them ever. Like it was like seeing an Astromantis drop. It was just like that might as well like not exist in the game. And now it's gotten to the point where like I've seen a few, I've used a few, and I played, quite a bit this league and Dawn of the Hunt. But yeah, I honestly think that it needs to be like 4x what it is now. Like we need to be seeing these things frequently. It's going to result in just more fun, like having more fun crafting stuff. Like I think they talked about this a lot on the Path to Exile podcast with Miso Shiru, Kaltarak, and Dead Rabbit. They talked about
Mhm.
essentially like crafting is sort of locked behind a 0.1% of the player base. It either has an insane amount of divines and mirrors, or it's just RNG. And so yeah, I think that the game would be so much more fun if we were all finding these omens a lot, slamming our gear, and just having a little bit more like determinism in terms of crafting as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. Like, just something, fractured orbs are kind of like a step there. Recom is a step there, but, just different avenues, for us to, PoE1 has the crafting bench, and I'm not saying the crafting bench, we need that in PoE2. I'm saying we need something that isn't runes because just runes just doesn't solve um it doesn't instantly solve the issue and it always leaves a gap. It always feels like it leaves a gap when your gear, it leaves a gap in your let's say I'm always trying to like I just replaced a piece of gear and now I need fire res, the rune just never feels like it feels like if I replace the rune now I lost defense or I lost ES, and it just feels like there's always a sacrifice rather than um like a swap. Like, so let me swap this res for this res. So we just need something there. I know they mention a lot of come with solutions, don't come with problems. And honestly, this is one of those things where it's just like, yeah, I don't know, the crafting bench is a good idea. So something along those lines that give us an opportunity to put on an affix. I don't know. I thought about as far as currencies, maybe some way to switch the corrupt implicit that we get. So something that allows us to re-roll that
I love
as an
that.
additional um, something something along those lines. Same thing. We have the recom, but maybe something that allows us to add additional, I don't know, swap tier for tier or something like that. You know, re-roll a tier, something like a divine, but in that sense, I don't know. They just need something, right? But it is a big hole, and it does leave. Going back to the omens, it does leave people in trade core, in soft core, in trade. It leaves people behind essentially. So they Dead Rabbit made a really good point, which is the with rarity, which is in everything, that whole system is the rich are always just going to get richer with the current implemented systems. And right now, where right now we're going to continue to get what we're getting,
Yeah, absolutely.
which is
So
blown up
I
my
have
dick.
to I have to bring
Sorry.
up Last Epoch here. No, sorry to interrupt you, bro. They have a system. I don't know if you're aware of this, but they have a system for SSF players called like the League of Fortune, I believe it's called, or something along those lines, where like you make your character and then you choose either to be in Trade League or SSF. But when you join
Mhm.
their version of SSF, the League of Fortune, um, it essentially gives you more drops. So like as a substitute for being able to trade with somebody or not being able to trade with somebody, there's just increased drop rates. And it's such a great system that feels really, really good because it just supplements that experience, right? So I know you said like bring up like solutions for GGG, and I think that like the way that they like Last Epoch has approached not only that but crafting as well, dude. You should check it out. It's a great game. It doesn't feel as good to play as PoE 2. Like I will say that PoE 2
Mhm.
is just it feels amazing, but the systems that they have in that game are so incredible. They've solved a lot of the issues that PoE 2 is like actually trying to solve right now. So I hope that GGG can kind of find inspiration from like the League of Fortune stuff or like the way that they approach crafting. And yeah, like I love what you said about more crafting currency. That's actually like one of the things I would love to see added to the game the most is like more items like that. Like give us a crafting currency that can re-roll resistances so we don't have to supplement those with runes. Like runes are a great basis for things, but just having that is not enough. We need more of what you said, more crafting currencies. Not to the point where it's like PoE 1 levels of crafting currencies, but just a few more, I think, utility items, like utility crafting currencies would be fantastic. Like the thing you said about like I think it was like undoing or like removing corrupted and then as like a super rare currency could be cool too, like so you could like
Yeah.
you could recorrupt, have a chance to recorrupt something again if you had that particular like thing. Like I love that. That's awesome.
Exactly, just some version of that, but yeah. Yeah, no, and to build off, sorry to interrupt, but yeah, Last Epoch has a really good, I always mention Last Epoch's SSF system, and then their group system as well, which is like when you play in a group in the SSF system, you drop these like little tokens that are tied to your group mate, and you guys can exchange items in your SSF group. So it kind of like there's just these systems that are really good, and hopefully PoE isn't afraid, or PoE2 and GGG isn't afraid to take these, oh my God, excuse me, these systems in. And yeah, uh, along with their filter, like the Endgame filter, amazing, right? No, no wisdom scrolls, so your items come ID'd. Those are really huge things that I think are good, are good, are good.
Bro, I will die on the hill of ID scrolls, dude. I want to have wisdoms up the ass in my inventory, dude. Like, because I'm a D2 player, right? Like I like picking up something and not knowing what it is, and then having to actually see, like, oh, like if I want to look at this, I'll ID it. I like that part, but I know what you're saying, man. And yeah, Last Epoch does a great job of like solving a lot of these issues. Another thing that I wanted to sort of bring up with you, as we're sort of rapid firing through these different systems in Path of Exile 2 was just like the end game progression. So you kind of brought up briefly like it'd be cool if you could spec into more stuff on the Atlas tree, kind of similarly to how like Path of Exile 1 works. So what do you think we're gonna see maybe in like the new patch as sort of like end game improvements? What would you like to see, and what are some issues that you've sort of been experiencing in the end game?
uh So in the end game, kind of like, so first one was what would I like to see, or was that
Yes.
the
Yeah.
yeah, what
Yeah.
would I like to see? reworking towers, I think that's like a common issue for everyone that always comes up. Tower rework. It feels punishing even in SSF. Like I have pretty juiced towers and I kind of know how to juice it, but it just feels like not a good it feels like a chore to get through maps to get to a tower, to have to get through an area where everything is Val Foundry, Val this, or just maps you don't want to, you don't want to play Val Factory. It's and I think that whole system needs a reboot. Um, they've reworked towers a few times now, I think, or a couple times. Jonathan said he wasn't going to budge. It seems like now he's a little bit more open to it. So hopefully they figure it out. What I would like to see is just something that gives us more opportunity to juice without having to do chore work and without having to create items that are just going to take up endless space, like precursor tablets, and just maps are, I understand maps, but just like those types of things, like obviously people talk about scarabs as like a thing now that if they introduce that, now that's an additional thing. So I understand they're kind of in a spot where they've picked their poison with this, but I think they definitely have to pivot to something. I couldn't tell you what it is. I like PoE1's endgame system a lot. The way they have it laid out, how you really just get to run what you want to run. And yeah, so hopefully that something along those lines where we can really choose our maps, or we can have a ability to re-roll maps. We can pick between 3 maps maybe, or something like that. A currency that re-rolls them, not the map itself, but the node or the nodes. I don't know, something like that. We definitely need it. We definitely need it. And let me see if there's anything else in Endgame that's really like, as far as like Atlas and stuff like that, I think the Atlas is pretty plain. Compared to PoE1. I know I'm doing a lot of comparing to PoE1. I don't compare the games. I'm just looking at it from other aRPG aspects. PoE2 is not PoE1. It's not trying to be that, and I know that. And that's why I think I love it so much as well. But you got to look at what works and what doesn't. For the end game, it's just I feel like it's not working, and we gotta get away from what we're doing right now. I feel like I'm waffling a little bit, but it's just I'm not enjoying the end game. Is kind of what pushed me away from softcore, and I hope that with this upcoming patch they really throw in a lot of stuff.
Definitely. I think that one of my favorite things that not a lot of people talk about that got introduced in Dawn of the Hunt was the unique like precursor tablets. My favorite one by far is just the Grand Project tablet, obviously the one that allows you to go anywhere in any map that a tower unlocks. And I honestly think that towers would be so much better if they just operated the way that if they all were just affected by Grand Project all the time. Like you go to a tower because the Val are just like setting up shop all over the map, dude. And I don't know why. Like, why do they need so many fucking settlements everywhere? It's like stick to a zone and just like populate that zone, you know? So like if we had towers that just unlocked the entire area, you could just easily skip everything that you don't want to, jump to the next tower, juice that up, and it would add way less, or it would remove a lot of friction of having to path through maps that you hate doing. Chuck in a T1 just because you want to kill the rare super quick and then move on to the next map. I love the Grand Project tablet so much, and I feel like if that would be, I don't think that would be enough to appease the masses of people with their pitchforks and torches out right now about towers. But for me, that would be enough to be like, okay, they're not as bad anymore, because like at least I can still have more agency about what maps I want to do. And that, you know, they added it as well, so like when you do like a T15 or 16 waystone in a tower, it increases the radius at which it affects, like the tablets affect everything. So keep that in, and then have that so that when you run like a high level map, you can go further. Like you can basically, as you progress through maps, you're expanding the atlas more because you're running higher maps, and you can kind of just jump around in different stuff. Like that's my like solution that shouldn't really be that coding intensive. So GGG, put that in for me, bro, please.
No, that's a really good idea. They need something that makes it more, um, that gives you more options, right? I think the solution is just more options and more, not feeling cornered into making, 3 bad decisions on maps that you've worked to set up. So, yeah, yeah, no, that's a really great idea. I think that along with re-rolling maps, because again, when you get stuck in an area, you can just have 6 Val maps, with augury and slick and those types of maps, and it can just become an issue. But yeah, yeah, I like where your head's at, and I don't come at the game in like a negative way. I think the future is so bright for this game, and I'm all invested, and that's why I play so much. And I think GGG's. If you look at it, if you had a resume for work and you look at their resume is crisp, right? It's a great resume. They come late sometimes. They leave you hanging sometimes, but at the end of the day, when they deliver the product is there. It's damn near perfect, and you can tell that these are developers that genuinely care about their game, right? They take the time out of their day to have meetings with streamers, and they answer a bunch of questions when they don't have to. In all my years, I haven't really met developers that do that. So you just got to have trust, I think. And I'm just bouncing off the pitchforks ideas. Like, I think, people buy in today's media, buy into whatever the hot message is or whatever uh, the most popular messages, and I think usually those tend to be the negative ones. So I think you got to see the big picture, and the big picture is in a year this game is going to be incredible, and we're lucky that they allowed us to. They said they could have held the game until they finished it, not released it. We would have not been able to play it right now, but we're lucky enough to get to play the game, experience it. We can choose if we play it or not. So if we don't like it, don't play it.
Dude, I love that
Yeah.
answer so much. I feel like you're absolutely right. I think there's something about like our society that like is so drawn to the negative. You were on point when you talked about the news stuff. Like it's constantly showing us like the terrible things that are happening in the world, and I think that people are just naturally, for some reason, drawn to that type of stuff like that. So it gets views. That's what gets attention. You can see that in the popularity of some YouTube videos that are kind of like talking more negatively about Path of Exile 2. But dude, I always thought like maybe like yeah, just cut like GGG some slack a little bit because they're the ones who cooked your favorite aRPG. Like they're the ones who cooked Path of Exile 1. Like, and that game wasn't perfect when it came out. Like I don't know if you played Path of Exile 1 when it came out. I've seen footage of it and like or like when it came out. It came a long way, dude. Like the people were running the campaign the first 3 acts 3 times. Like, you know, so I think that like I think the expectations are what people have trouble with because the expectation of Path of Exile 1 players specifically are just set really, really high and for good reason because, as you said, GGG cares so much about their games. They make
Mhm.
really, really good games. Like the bar is set so high with Path of Exile 1 um, that like anybody who looks at Path of Exile 2 in comparison from an objective standpoint is like, oh, like there's nothing compared to the substance of PUE 1. But what I'm trying to say is essentially it's going to get there. It just needs time, and people's expectations shouldn't be this game in early access that's been developing for 7 whatever months. It just can't be as robust as PoE 1. There's just no way. Like it's impossible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think because they love GGG, and like those guys love their game and they love their genre so much, I think they're excited, and I think sometimes they get ahead of themselves and they throw out these dates like when the game comes out rather than leaving it open ended. And I think that sometimes sets a bad precedent, you know. Um And I feel like you just got to understand where they're coming from. It's just like anybody, right? They're people, they have lives, they have jobs, and you got to just take your best judgment of character and see that they genuinely care about the game, at least from my perspective. And yeah, cut them some slack. Cut them some slack. They're humans. And then also to bounce back, uh, there's other games, Cyberpunk, No Man's Sky. These games were atrocious when they came out, and they became amazing games. These are amazing games to play now. So just give it time, and yeah, you'll have an amazing aRPG.
I love it. Yeah, and I think like the communication aspect is something that GGG I found has been really, really good at. But the way that they sort of handled their dates, it's almost like when you go to a restaurant, bro, and you're with your girl and you're like, hey, like, do you guys have a table for two? And they're like, yeah, it'll be ready in like 5 minutes. And then so you're like, oh, perfect. We'll just stay here and we'll sit down and wait. And we'll get a table. And then 10 minutes goes by, 15 minutes goes by, 20 minutes goes by. And you're like, yo, where's my table? You guys said 5 minutes. Like, if you guys just told me 30 minutes for the table, we'd be fine with that if you actually followed up. And then maybe it could be done early. It's that expectation, right? And so I think that
Yep,
they get a little
exactly.
ahead of themselves. Yeah, we're like, they're excited to be like, yo, we're going to be dropping the game by like December 2025. But if they had just said, yeah, the game probably won't be ready for a couple years. We're probably looking more towards 2026. I don't think people would have an issue with that. It's just when they tell people the wrong like timeline, I think that that can get dicey in terms of communication.
Yeah, yeah, and then that's where I just bounce off. Like you gotta understand, you gotta be a human and understand other humans, understand the dynamics going on there. Like, I don't understand coding, so I don't know how long it takes to solve certain issues that they're running into, right? These complicated issues. So I kind of just go off the benefit that they're trying their best, and I think they're not like taking days off, right? They're not like slacking, right? They have a commitment to their company. They have a commitment to Path of Exile 1. They have a commitment to Path of Exile 2. And yeah, just stay true to that belief that
Got,
that they're doing the right stuff.
yeah, guys, just believe in the vision, okay? There's a vision. It's going to
The
happen.
process.
Believe
Yeah.
in the process, believe in the vision.
The
Yeah,
process
man.
the the process has friction. So just always the process has friction, and then once you realize that, you're good to go.
For sure. It's friction gaming over there, you know what I mean? And like, dude, here's the thing. I want to touch upon something that you said as well. Like, I've played a lot of games, you've played a lot of games. We've like been in touch with a lot of developers and been affected by a lot of game developers. I've never seen a company sort of as transparent as GGG is. Like, I come from a long lineage of Blizzard games, like, Diablo 2, StarCraft, World of Warcraft, all that kind of stuff. Blizzard would never sit down with a huge content creator 2 days after a dumpster fire patch came out and have a huge interview. They just never would. Like that takes massive balls, and they got my respect, man. Like, I don't agree with everything that happened in Dawn of the Hunt. I think it went down poorly. It's the game's in a much better state now, but man, to
Mhm.
be able to even sit down with Zizarin like 2 days in after like Reddit's on fire, YouTube's on fire, people are quitting the game left, right, and center. Like, dude, like mad props for that.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, that kind of goes on to that point is just like I don't that's why I think I'm so invested into it, and I believe so much is that I haven't seen developers that do that. I come from like a lot of the times like shooting like Call of Duty developers or CS:GO developers or even like sports game developers, which could be literally the worst ones. And you know, you can have 50,000 people complaining about one issue. They do not care. They're just going to continue to, roll out what they roll out. And yeah, I think people haven't had enough experience with bad games to realize when they have a good one. So you just got to give it some time, and I think people will come around. You mentioned this game's start on Twitch alone, let alone how many people was 1 million. So over 1 million people watching this game. So this game has massive, massive potential, and yeah, I think a lot of people will come back. Uh, just to kind of go into a little bit of a different topic. A big topic is like, is this patch a break it or make it patch? And I really don't think it is. I think it might push some people away, but I think regardless, when the game fully releases free, everyone, just like the first day when the early access released, will just come back and it'll be a huge, huge game. And I think that will be their moment to like strike the iron when it's hot. And that will be the hot moment, in my opinion.
I completely agree with you, man. That's a great take. I think that's a wonderful take. I think that like people out there sort of who are doomer pilled about the game being like, oh, like point three needs to be it or the game's dead. It's like, guys, like they're still making the game. Like they could change everything they do in point three and point four and so on and so forth. Like when 1.0 hits, like that's when they'll have sort of a more like concrete understanding of like everything that they want to be in the game, how all these systems function, how the end game works and stuff like that. So they're literally just like trying stuff out. Like Mark has specifically said, like, we're totally not afraid to just try something out. And if it sucks, we'll just take it out of the game. Like, and that's the point of early access, right? Is that like, you know, they shouldn't feel pressured to like have to make the game perfect for point three. They should try to make it better. They should try to fix some of the issues, but it doesn't need to be launch ready in 2 weeks. Like, you know, so yeah, I completely agree with that take. I think that's wonderful.
Yep. Yeah, no, I'm excited for the patch. We put together a big list of, I'm very optimistic for it. I'm very in the, this is going to be huge, and I'm playing this patch as if they're releasing the game when they say they're releasing it. So, yeah, my list of what's coming is huge.
Okay. Okay, guys, let's talk about point three. So, you know, patch point three is a big content update that's coming out in on August 29th, the day after my birthday. So you know I'm gonna be birthday gaming the shit out of that.
Oh,
Uh
shit.
so tell me, Pav, what's on your list for point three? What are you expecting? What are you hoping for?
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick.
Yeah.
So we made a big one here. So again, these are like, I'm playing it optimistically, and I'm playing it that they're releasing the game when they say they're going to release it. Uh, do I necessarily believe it? No, but these are where my thoughts and how I'm thinking. So, this release is going to be Act 4, two new characters, Druid Shadow, two new ascendancies, Sork and Monk. Those are the two that were missing. Two new weapons, those are tied to the Druid and Shadow. 10 new maps. So these are endgame maps, and these are going to be based off of Act 4 and a bunch of Act 4 maps. 2 to 3 new mechanics, so similar to the spirits, something like that. One new pinnacle content to do. 100 skills, support gems. So kind of like Try mentioned, they're going to fill that whole portion out. I think they're going to introduce the new trading system. We kind of know that's going to happen, right? Updated crafting. So that's where I told you guys about like the re-rolled corrupted, giving us more options like the Reforger, Recom, new uniques. So I initially said 30 new uniques. That's kind of like my bottom tier. I would say maybe even 50. And then I also said 8 charms because they might update the charm system. They were talking about that. So we'll see. Maybe a 4th charm slot, new trial, separate server, and yeah, that's it. So
Holy moly.
a big list.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm expecting, like, look what they did for PoE1, right? Like
Mhm.
they gave players almost everything. So yeah. We'll see.
All right. All right. So here's the thing. I want you to be so right about everything that you just said because that would be a banger patch, dude. Like that would be crazy if they dropped all of that. You know what I mean? Like, whew,
Mhm.
I'm getting excited right now just thinking about it. For me personally, I'm still learning like what to expect from grinding your games because I'm such a new Path of Exile player. And again, just to reiterate, I come from Blizzard where like everything that you mentioned would be something that I would be paying extra money for in an expansion and probably less. Like they would be releasing less content for Diablo 4 and selling me it for $50. So I'm
Yeah.
still like I still have like baggage from like that relationship, you know what I mean? And I'm coming into this new healthier addiction relationship with Path of Exile. And I'm still thinking about it in terms of like what's actually like copium and what's actually like or copium or hopium interchangeably, and what's actually realistic. And I just don't know yet. Like Dawn of the Hunt, I think for me, there was a lot of stuff. There was a lot of what you mentioned, but maybe about half of what you mentioned. Like there wasn't a new act. There was one class. There was three new
Mhm.
ascendancies. There's a bunch of support gems and stuff like that. So that's kind of where my baseline is right now. But the thing is, dude, they have been radio silent for like weeks. Like they haven't said anything. And I want to believe that they've just been like nose to the grindstone and just pumping out shit. Like I yeah, just working their New Zealand butts off, their Kiwi butts off. And dude, I would love to see all that stuff you mentioned. For me personally, I've always been, and I say this a lot on the podcast. I don't care about new classes and new weapons right now. I really care about the campaign. And the reason why I care about the campaign so much is because that directly translate into more endgame content. So if we got acts 4, 5, and 6, people would be happy because we don't have to do cruel anymore. Cruel is a huge issue for a lot of people. They hate doing it. I'm kind of like, it's not great, but I played Diablo 2 for 20 years, so it's, we played the campaign constantly. But it would introduce more layouts, more art, more bosses, all of these different things that will result in like a way better and more robust endgame system. So I really hope that like more acts are in the works. People say that like it's almost a guarantee that Act 4 is coming out. I would love to see like Acts 4 through 6. Like it'd be crazy if they just dropped the whole campaign and then all of that
Maybe.
translates into like endgame shit that we have to do. And then yeah, I love what you mentioned about like more endgame systems and pinnacle content as well.
Yeah, no, it's so right. We're getting drip fed, and the term I like to use is we're prisoners held into this game that we want to be better, and we get drip fed either updates or knowledge. And right now, they're giving us the smallest bits of crumb through the bars right now, and that's obviously uh, we got to take it as we get it. But yeah, no, I hope this patch is a banger, and I hope that the little information that we're getting right now means that they're locked in, their tunnel vision, they got the blinders on, and they're yeah, road ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of like we're like in the cell right now and we're like have a stick and we're like running it along the bars, like trying to get the guards' attention and be like, please, sir, like, can I have some more information about what's happening? But yeah, I think that next week we'll probably get some pretty substantial information about the game. I know that this week we got the teaser, that image they posted on Twitter, very cryptic. And I haven't really watched any like breakdowns. I know that Talkative tried to do a breakdown of it, like basically like 15 minutes after he like said he already solved it. Did you watch his video and what were your thoughts sort of about that teaser and what's to come? And did that influence
So I think
your list? Sorry to add that on there, but
no,
I'm wondering if it
no,
did.
you're good. I saw his little like 5 minute one. I think he had a more in depth one, and yeah, I mean, I see where he's coming from. I kind of thought it was tied to the gauntlet. I think he thought it was tied to the trial as well. Um, I watched another YouTuber. I'm so sorry. I'm like blanking on his name. He has the cool background. I think it's the bird.
Sir Gog.
Um, Sir Gog. Yes, thank you. And I watched his take as well. And yeah, everyone's got interesting takes. I don't even know where to begin with it. I think it's related to the gauntlet or the new trial that's coming. But yeah, we'll see when we get drip fed some more crumbs.
I think that if the trial is getting teased, then that kind of confirms a new act, right? So I think that we can basically safely say that Act 4 is like coming for sure, which is super exciting. Yeah, dude, I agree. I want this game to be so much better, and it is so much fun already. But I really hope that with point three, I think another thing aside from the acts that I really want to see is just like more items, specifically more like build enabling unique items. Like coming from a D2 background, like there was no end game in that game, dude. You just beat the campaign 3 times and then you just farm the same bosses over and over again. And people have been doing that for 25 years, not because there's of the robust end game that it has, but because the items in that game are so fucking good. Like you could play your whole life playing that game and never find some of the uniques, but the chance that those things could drop keeps you coming back to play that game again. And I think that like
Mhm.
we need stuff like that in Path of Exile too. Right now, I think that like there are some cool uniques. And this is again, I have to always preface this. It's coming from an HCSSF standpoint where like we are not locked into certain items, but we have to basically be very selective with the uniques that we use because if we choose the wrong item, it means that we go back and check out how the beach is that time of year. You know what I mean? So there's not a lot of like variation in terms of like what those good uniques are because oftentimes I find that like they have a interesting modifier, but the defenses on all or not all, but a lot of the uniques are just garbage. So it's like, why would I remove this chess piece that gives me 1,000 evasion and 400 energy shield to have something that just gives me something cool? Like it just doesn't seem worth it. So I'm not saying that all uniques need to be like amazing and insta equip, but there needs to be like a more of a spectrum of like stuff that drops that's super rare, that's like an auto equip, so that it keeps people playing to find those items because that's what ARPGs are all about. Is just like the item hunt, man.
Yeah, yeah. I think they did a good job with this recent update, right? And bringing, trying to make more uniques usable. The idea is there. The execution was kind of a little bit wobbly, I would say, but I think in general, they need more top tier uniques. I agree with you. The Tangle Tongue, right? The way that operates feels like a T0 unique, like a top tier, like this is very limited unique, but it's not. So I think we need stuff like that, but at a higher level. And I think we need more, like you said, leveling uniques. You don't really feel it in softcore. In softcore, it's just always going to be blazed through campaign. I think it's kind of inevitable. There's always just going to be leveling uniques. Use those. But in hardcore, I think in hardcore SSF, for me, I think they did a good job at bringing you new uniques. I'm always, always, always using uniques or some type of unique within the build. And I found that more now than before. So I think they're on a good path. I think they just got to add a bunch more. They just got to add a bunch more, and they've got to be not afraid to let them be kind of OP in certain ways. There's some good ones. There's some good ones. The dodge roll one is one I like. There's the shield that gives you skill effect duration. I love it for the NATOs. The chain sting, which is great for projectile speed. Um, the rusted great helm. I think the one that gives you dex and it gives you rage on melee. There's two different ones, the dex and the strength. Both are really good. The Megnord's amazing, right? There are really good uniques and early uniques to use. It's just kind of, I don't think you feel them in softcore. And then yeah, I just think we need more of them in hardcore and SSF. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love the you know, you can't talk about Dawn of the Hunt without talking about Tangle Tongue, the old Tangle Tongue. Yeah, like we need more items
Money.
like that. But like we need items like that that are dropping throughout the entirety of the campaign, not just deep late game where you're farming pinnacles or in Tangle Tongue's case in Act 2. Like the great thing about Diablo 2 itemization is that at any point in time, a GG item could just drop on the ground. Like they're not locked behind pinnacles. I like that items are locked behind the pinnacles. So why else would you do them if you're not going to get really cool loot from them? But there needs to be
Mhm.
sort of those like situations where you're just playing the game and you're just finding like crazy shit. Like I don't know if you found much of the like the new sort of powerful runes. But like even playing this league, like I loved how they dropped those like mid league. Finding some of those was super cool. Like I slotted one of the fizz damage ones into my like two socket hands of wisdom in action. And it was like,
Mhm.
dude, like that was such a huge upgrade. Like that socket spot is just never getting replaced anymore because I found this cool rune and I just happened to have a double socket hands of wisdom in action. So yeah, really hope that that's the final thing that I'd like to see in point three is just more items, more uniques, more shit that you find on the ground that you're like, holy fuck, I can do this build now because I found that item. Like that's the thing that keeps people logging in, right?
Yeah, do you I guess I'll flip it over a little bit. Do you think we should have more runes or you think we're at a good rune spot?
Oh, I think there's always room for more runes, man. Like, I was so surprised that one of the runes wasn't just a plus to all resistances. Like, guys, what are you doing? Like, help us supplement our resistances by just doing like a 15 to all res rune. Like, it can be one of the purple ones, but like stuff like that, it just seems kind of like a no-brainer, dude. Like, we use runes to supplement basically only defenses right now. There are very like certain situations in the game, like the rune that I just talked about with glove flat fizz, which is the only way to add like flat fizz in the game right now is through that particular rune. And so yeah, we just need more shit. Like there should be double the amount of runes that we have right now. A lot more like crazy unique ones, like stuff that like yeah, like that. I always talk about you know, the spectrum of where of which rarity things can drop. Like there needs to be stuff that we won't see maybe once a league. But if you find that shit, like one of the really powerful runes, like a +5 to skill level or something. Not saying they should put that in. That's just an example, but something like that. That'd be like when you find it, you're like, holy shit! Like I just found the +5 rune. Like that is insane. I can make the craziest like weapon now or something. So
Mhm.
yeah, but yeah, you can always ask me questions, bro. Like this is definitely an interview, but it's also like you can bounce stuff off me as well.
Yeah.
So let's see. We talked about itemization quite a bit. How are you feeling, by the way? We're at like almost an hour and a half.
Feeling good, dude. I feel like we're just having a good conversation, right? Like I feel like we're touching on a lot of subjects. It just feels natural. We're just hanging out, talking. Yeah.
I agree, dude. Yeah, I just wanted to check in with you. I usually check in with everybody at like the hour and a half mark. But yeah, man, I'm vibing and
Yeah.
this is great. Thank you for coming on, bro. This has been an awesome chat so far. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do have like more points. And yeah, if you're keen to go for like another like, 30 minutes, then we should do that.
Let's do it.
All right. So one of the things that gets people absolutely seething in Path of Exile 2 is movement speed. What's your take on the movement speed? Just generally speaking, are you cool with the slower pace and the slower vibe, or do you want to see improvements to it? How you feeling?
Um, Generally, I think that we're at a good spot in the overall race. So like when you can get on Ranger and the movement speed you can get, I think it feels good. It feels like if it was any more, it would just be a little too much. But there's some like spots where movement speed does need to be improved. I think they can give a little bit more with the runes, either make them more common and accessible to people. Because right now it feels only accessible. The last time I checked, they were really crazy expensive, so they were only accessible to the end game. But um, yeah, just make things like that more accessible, and then kind of fix warrior. Warrior feels too dang slow. Like just really it feels punishing to play with the stain, and then same thing with the movement with the shield, the debuff that you get from the shield. It just feels, I don't know, it doesn't feel the low attack speed, low movement speed, then you're just stacking all this, it just feels clunky. And the class I think has a lot of potential. As soon as you put on attack speed, it feels so good. It feels a lot better. Um, but yeah, I think just to bounce. I think movement speed is generally good. I think they just have some fine tuning to do. I don't think it's like a big thing like towers where they need to rebuff it. I think it's good where it's at. Um, Someone asked me if they should put in a sprint button and genuinely thought that was the worst idea ever. It just would turn it into kind of like a mindless game. We talked about like how we can bring that to life. Like let's say we were to introduce it, right? How would we go about it? So like a couple of different things was we would put it as a skill gem, like a movement skill, and then we would like parts of the tree would be tailored towards like making the ability quicker to use. So like as you sprint, the ability has a cooldown, but then your skills also have a cooldown. And then in the tree, like weapon swaps skill, you could kind of cool that timer down. But that was the one way that thought sounded kind of plausible, but it just still feels like a with what we have, I feels good, but yeah. So
I
yeah,
was
that's
there for
something.
that. I was there for that sprint, sprint button conversation. I personally think that that isn't it, but I'm actually sort of more open to that idea that you just mentioned where it's like it's a skill. It's not something that everybody has. It's something that you have to actually like actively choose to implement in your build, and something that you can actually build and scale around, whether it's cooldown reduction so you can use it more, or actually putting supports in there to sort of adjust that like sprint. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool, but I don't agree. I don't agree with that chatter that like thinks that like, everybody should just be sprinting all the time. Like I just don't think that that's what's up right now with the game. I was on a call with Angormus yesterday in my stream, and we were kind of chatting about the game. And one thing that I mentioned to him, because he's like a warrior main only, and after playing PoE1, I found this node on the PoE1 passive tree that was like, if you select it, it removes the armor penalty for wearing shields and heavy armor. So like you basically have no penalty. And I think that that is like a thing we need in the game, dude. Like make that a notable on the passive tree. You
100%.
don't have to pick it if you don't want to for whatever reason. It's going to be meta, of course, if it's in the game, but like dude, that would solve warrior to the point where it would feel so much better to play. And yeah, because I agree. Like I love the feeling in the class fantasy of warrior. I love using big ass maces and swords and heavy armor and shields and shit. But like, dude, the feeling of going from that character to going to a invoker who's riding a Roa and just shooting lightning arrows everywhere, it's night and day, man. Like it just feels not as good, basically.
Or
Um,
even sorry to, but even counter to using rake stomping ground or just like a spear, it just doesn't you on a warrior. It just you gravitates towards wanting to use that rather than use the intended weapon.
yeah, absolutely. I think that like I don't know. There has to be some sort of way to do it. But yeah, I don't know. Someone in the chat saying that no one will ever not use that notable. That's probably true. So maybe that's not the best solution, but that's something that they had in Path of Exile 1, and it is something that not everybody picks up in that game. And I think that that also maybe is supplemented with like there's so many like prominent movement abilities in Path of Exile 1, like you're literally just blinking around and leap slamming everywhere. So your run speed isn't as important, whereas like in PoE 2, we're slow as shit. And if you're playing warrior and you don't have like you have shield charge, which I think is like the best utility, spell or skill in the game. But other than that, it's like there's nothing else to supplement it with really.
Yeah, yeah, and it just ends up kind of putting you in a certain spot with warrior where yeah, you just use shield charge or you use something else, use disengage, use
Yeah, leap
alternative
slam.
method, and yeah. Yeah, so it's just we'll I feel like they'll pick it up. I feel like they'll pick it up from where warrior was in standard to where it is now. It's such a good class, and I think it'll figure it out.
For sure. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that it's a sweet spot, right? And I think it comes down to the same thing for a lot of these points of criticism where it's like they don't want to go too far because it's hard to go back from that. Like if they had just adjusted movement speed by like 25% across the board and then had realized, we might have overtuned that. And then point 4 comes out and it's, oh my God, they nerfed movement speed. The game is dead. Like all this shit. You know what I mean? And it's like, so they have to be super conscious of the fact that like they have to make these small incremental changes to the game to find that perfect balance rather than like over tuning shit and then having to like go back because people, as we saw in like point 1, like people hate nerfs and nerfs are going to be
Mhm.
a part of these types of games. But I think they're sort of trying to minimize as much friction as they can have with those interactions, basically. All right, so I got a big question for you, bro. Okay, so I like
Okay.
to. This has sort of been a meme topic. Dead Rabbit has got all of his emotes in Twitch that go towards this, but I just wanted to ask you, like, generally speaking, how would you describe like the vision of Path of Exile 2?
Um, it was initially not working, right? I think just clear, it's just not working. I think at first they were really sold into believing it was gonna work, and they've since altered course. And I think that's why there's so much a little bit of a bumpy or such a bumpy road as there's been. Uh and yeah, I mean going forward, we'll see what they have in store. Um, as far as like the vision, I'm trying to think of like I'm really trying to think of like points that Jonathan's like super stuck on. So he was stuck on the towers. They're super no about the trade site, right? So we're never gonna see the trade site go. Um, but
No, dude, we
everything
will see
seemed
that go. It's gonna go, dude. I'm
is
not even
it?
joking. So they said Jonathan said in the one of the Chinese interviews. I haven't watched the whole
Uh-huh.
thing, but it was in part of the notes where they said they are working on a new trade system, and it actually is coming out in 1.0, dude. Like it's gonna be
And the
completely
trade
different.
system means like completely website rehaul.
Yes, or auction house or something. We don't know yet. That's actually
Gotcha. Okay.
we can talk about that later. But yeah, please continue. Sorry about that.
No, no, no. That's I didn't know that. I knew there was a new trade system. I didn't realize that encompassed a giant rehaul. So I mean, the vision is rocky. Like I said, the vision has a lot of friction in it, but I believe in the vision.
That's fair. I think that's totally fair, man. Like when I was talking about Dead Rabbit, I think I came up with sort of like the perfect analogy for the vision of the game. And I'll just reiterate it right now for you folks who maybe haven't watched that episode. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Love Dead Rabbit. Shout out to the homie. What I essentially said about the vision was that Path of Exile 1 is a perfect album. And I'm going to be using like a music reference here. So like GGG is the artist. They made a perfect album and now they're trying to make a second perfect album. But their second album is not just a copy of their first album. They're going for a new sound. They're trying out some different stuff. Maybe they're introducing like, I don't know, like lyrics instead of like just being an instrumental album. And so they're trying to essentially change up the formula so that it's not exactly like a direct copy of Path of Exile 1 essentially. And of course that's going to upset people because you have artists where you're like, oh, I used to like their music back in the day, but now their new stuff sounds like shit. But what that does when you're an artist, you're constantly like pushing your creative limits and you're growing as an artist, right? And that's what like GGG is trying to do is they're trying to sort of grow into a new sound, a new vibe. And that actually opens up the door for a lot of people to sort of learn about that artist in a new way and learn to appreciate that. And then that can translate into them going back and listening to their older music as well. So that's kind of like my definition of what the vision is. It's just a new album they're trying to do. And right now, like they're kind of working through the first couple songs. But those first couple songs are definitely different, slower. They got a dodge roll sample in there. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the thing. Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about that? Does that work?
No, I think that's a great example, dude. That's a great example. It fits slots right in with the going back and trying and sampling, POE1. Uh, I think they're just they're new, they're right, their vision, right, is more meaningful combat.
He said
And
it.
that vision kind of is getting a little murky, but I think they're doing a good job, man. Like I said, the feedback is there, uh, and everything that we need is kind of there. And yeah, trust in the artist. I've had plenty of like one artist that I can say that when you describe that's perfect. Young Lean, right? Young Lean. If you still listen to him to this day, has very different sounding musics, and he's always trying to push some different avenue. Sometimes it might not be the best, but he's just always experimenting. So sometimes it just goes back to is like I'm the type of person where if I trust in that process and yeah, we'll see where it goes. I think you're with me on the trusting the process. I think we'll see
Oh, I
the game
totally
grow.
trust the process, 100%. Like, dude, yeah, Young Lean's a perfect example. I think the artist that comes to mind for me is Daft Punk. Like Daft Punk is definitely one of my like all-time favorite artists. Like, but if you listen to like Homework or Discovery, those sounds sound quite different from like their last album, which was called Random Access Memories. Like, if you played that album, I don't know if you're familiar with Daft Punk, but they tried a lot of different shit, and I think that Random Access Memories is a perfect album, but I also think that like Homework and Discovery were also perfect in their own way, but they were very different. And they were
Mhm.
like they weren't afraid of like trying different shit, which is super cool, and it actually like kind of it created their legacy as like not only making the same sounding like electronic music, but like introducing more vocal stuff and just having different vibes and stuff like that. Yeah. So, and I like meaningful combat. Meaningful combat is good.
Yeah, no. I'm listening to Daft Punk, not too much, but yeah, I get where you're going with. Yeah.
For sure. So yeah, let's do some hypothetical questions here. So when do you think Path of Exile 2 is going to be done, bro? And by done, I mean like 1.0 login type done. What's your guess?
Uh Probably sometime like next year. Like the time frame they gave us right now, but next year.
Okay. So like end of next year essentially is what you're saying.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm totally on board with that. I think Try thinks it's even going to be 2027 and I'm like, "No, dude, like lock it in boys for 2026." But I'm under the impression like, and this might be a hot take, but I always say like, boys, take as long as you need. Like, cook this game. Don't. I know you said 2025. I think we all can agree that that's probably not going to happen. Who knows? Your list could be absolutely accurate on the 29th. They could drop all this crazy shit and they could be like basically halfway there or more than halfway there. But yeah, like I totally hear you on that. End of next year, maybe even 2027.
Yeah, just optimistically, I mean, everyone it's one of the toughest parts because I think GGG one thing they're not consistent with is dates. So even if you're kind of like a newer fan, it's all up there. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, for
Who know
sure.
yeah. I I'm hoping the reason why I think that is because and not the following year is because I think they're genuinely going to focus on PoE2. So they're like gonna be throwing out updates. Obviously, we'll see the 4-4. I think that goes back to their hopeful expectation. These guys love aRPGs. They want to do 4-4. Is 4-4 sustainable? Probably not. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, like the fact that they want to stick to that schedule, I think is super optimistic. I think the one thing that I think they really struggle with is employment. I think that because New Zealand has pretty strict requirements for hiring people like outside talent from like the US or Europe or Canada or whatever, you have to basically, whenever you hire someone from overseas, you have to explain why they are doing a better job than someone from New Zealand is. And so I think they struggle a lot more than like a big developer does in like the US, where they can just import people from wherever the fuck they want, basically, without like
Yeah.
any big. It's not as big of a deal in the US, so I think that really has impacted them, and I think that they will get to the 4-4 system when they have enough people to work on PoE1 and PoE2 simultaneously. But as far as I know right now, it kind of seems like they're just like, you guys work on PoE1. Okay, PoE1's in a good state. Now all of you guys move over to PoE2. Or not all of you guys, but a lot of you guys. And so I don't know. It just seems like that it's just going to be hectic. These guys are just running back and forth between different sides of the office, and I don't know if it's. I don't know. They might have bit off more than they could chew with the 4-4 thing. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the shifting so we had an early kind of look at them shifting teams and them kind of being transparent, letting us know, and it's not working. So I'm interested to see. That's my main skepticism for why I don't think 4-4 is going to work. Is I and from watching DM's videos, like a few of them, seeing the guys talk about how when they were separate on separate teams, they were disconnected. So that's why there was a delay with certain things. Yeah, if that continues, they'll probably as well continue with the delays. So yeah, I mean, internally I didn't know about the New Zealand thing, but yeah, we'll see how they handle it. Yeah, we'll see how they handle it.
Yeah, I hope that just like these random godlike S tier coders and developers just starts coming out of nowhere because in New Zealand, because dude, if I was a developer, like GGG would be the place I want to work. And I know I'm biased because I love the game and I love that company, but like, man, like this would be if I was working in the games industry, this would be the place that I want to work at. Like listening to DM talk about he walked into their office and they just gave him a key and they were just like, just be free now. Go explore. Go into the open world and just explore. I'm like, that is not like a typical like developer company vibe. Like usually it's very like rigid. There's a lot of like, the fact that he could like walk into Jonathan and Mark's office if he wanted to, and just out on a whim and be like, "Yo, what are you guys up to?" Like, that's pretty special, man. And I think that just speaks to the sort of the way that they go about like developing games in general.
Yeah, yeah, you don't get that experience. So that's cool that they even offer that to people that are right. Like DM at the end of the day, his job is content, but he is a gamer and he is like us. So he balances that. So you have to look at it as, they're giving somebody to who's a part of the community. And yeah, that's very cool. And it shows how open they are, how trust, right? Because they straight up told DM like, hey, you can roll cameras. We're just trusting you to not air this stuff. And that just shows their openness with this stuff. And yeah, what more could you want? What more could you want?
Totally,
As
man. Like
somebody
when,
who's
yeah, sorry, go
sorry,
ahead, go ahead.
just as somebody that's investing their time into something, and what more could you want? And that's it. Sorry.
No, no, I totally agree. And I think that like we got I got to give a shout out to DM. Those interviews and that whole like New Zealand thing was fantastic. Like it's basically been like the again we talk about like the crumbs, the drip feed of like stuff about like PoE2. Like that's been what we got up to this point basically. But it was super cool to kind of learn like the inner workings of GGG. Like I don't believe that a lot of game developing companies have so much freedom to where like any dev can basically like walk into Jonathan or Mark's office and be like, "Hey guys, what do you think of this?" And like without a boardroom meeting or like a going on like a huge Zoom call with the investors and all this type of shit. It's like it's pretty cool that like the employees there have like freedom to like basically just like spitball ideas and like if something sticks with people, like they just put it in the game or they just do it, which is excellent.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think it shows why it leads to such open game, such a good game and a good final product. And yeah. It's a good I can totally tell, or I totally agree with you when you say like I would want to work there as an outsider seeing the way they operate. Yeah, it's a really good space that's they don't feel like they put pressure on their employees. Everyone genuinely seems like they love what they're building towards, the idea of Path of Exile 1 and 2. And yeah, it's great to see.
And the most important part is they all play the game. They all play the game too, which is like it's kind of crazy that I have to preface that, but like there are so many people that work at developing companies, bigger ones like Ubisoft, Blizzard, whatever, Activision, who are just working on these games. They don't give a fuck. And guys, I'm not trying to shit on big game developers. A lot of these people are talented. They're amazing. They're doing great work. But the one thing that I think about was there was like a Diablo 4 developer showcase where there was a map designer, a level designer, and I forget who it was, a narrative person, like two big roles within the Diablo 4 development team. And they were playing the game like while talking about the new update or something like that. And like they had no idea what they were doing, bro. It was actually crazy. And then I think it came out where like it was like pre-recorded footage or something and they were just holding the controller like they would in a movie, like pretending to move it and shit like that. And like
That's
I just feel like
crazy.
it's just like the opposite end of the spectrum from GGG. So yeah, we've been glazing them, but I think it's well deserved for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so I wanted to ask you one more question. We sort of talked about this earlier. This is one more sort of Path of Exile question, and then we'll sort of wrap up with a few like outro questions. Um,
Okay.
so I know you played Trade League at the beginning. I know that we talked about sort of there's going to be a rework to the trading system. What was your sort of opinion on how that whole system functions as it stands right now with the website? And what would you want to see sort of as a like fresh revamp to like the trading system, basically?
As right now as it stands, it's a little bit tedious to do. I personally don't like to do it. So like every time having to interact with it, having to set live searches, hearing the tinks clicking, people like uh price fixing with bots, just kind of dealing with all of that is not a fun experience. And I can imagine for someone, if you're a new player and you're introduced into this and you don't understand price fixing and you're messaging these guys and you're wondering why you're not getting back. Yeah, it just it creates a there's just right now the structure isn't good. Um it seems so. I'm excited to see where we go from here. Uh, Trade is one of the reasons why I ran away from softcore. Is just like I hate having to interact with it. I like trading with like people, right? And like, oh, dude, I found this chest. I know you're playing this. I'd like to like just do you need it, right? I found this unique. I can give it to you. I like that. I don't like this competitive market, right? And I think that's what draws a lot of people in is this super hyper competitive market that they can almost buy out and you know it appeals to a certain type of person. I'm not one of those people because like I'll buy maybe not the perfect mirror tier every slot every affix, but like I'll buy near top tier 100 div gear, and it just it doesn't hit the same way as if I craft something. So yeah, for me, the market, I don't think I'd ever go back to full market player. I'm gonna play to have like to test the build, practice new content. But as far as being a full time, I don't think I can ever see myself go. Unless it's the craziest trade market and we get something like super um where it's fun to interact with the market, which I genuinely for the first 500 hours I enjoyed
Mhm.
selling, putting something up for 5 exalts, 3 exalts, selling it, and you doubled your money all of a sudden, and it's a lot of fun. But it loses its flair when you get to the end game, and yeah, items are worth hundreds of divs, and yeah, the whole market is just a chore to say.
Yeah, I totally agree. We have the same exact experience where like I enjoyed it at the beginning, and then over time I sort of just grew tedious. I got more and more. It got more and more tedious to interact with, and then that was like the catalyst for like I'm just gonna go play Selfbound where I don't have to deal with this shit anymore. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but I do think that like sort of in the same vein as you, like if they came out with something that was like allowed for people like the economists or like the people who play the game in their hideout and they just sell shit all day, like I think that that's a cool part of the game that even though we don't enjoy, like that's a way that someone can enjoy Path of Exile. It's a completely different way that someone can play the game. Like you can play the game just flipping stuff and selling stuff and making money, and like that's cool. Like I think the more ways that people can enjoy the game, the better. So I think that like if they can somehow refine the way that they do it so that those types of players aren't like shafted and quit the game because that's all they like to do is like get to end game and farm and make money and then just play the market, while also
Mhm.
just removing that like friction. Like the way that I always talk about it, and someone actually wrote about it in chat, was like player player managed vendors. So I played this Korean MMO RPG when I was a kid called Maple Story. Shout out to Maple Story. Anybody who played that game, it was sick. And so what they did in that game was they had essentially like a marketplace where you could set up like a vendor. So you had to like make a shop, put your items for sale. You could only buy them when you were online, or you could only interact with shops when you were online. You could also message people in the shops. You could leave people a message, be like, "Yo, I'll buy this item off you for like maybe a couple mil off or something like that. Send me a DM." And so it has this like potential for what they want in the game, which is like player interaction. Like they don't want it to just be like World of Warcraft where you just go into the auction house and then press two buttons and get it. But I think there could be something interesting where like maybe they have a vendor in your hideout. It's like a new NPC you meet throughout the campaign. So there's some sort of like narrative thing or lore. And then when you have him in your hideout, you put items in him. And then when you sell them, he like puts that currency in your stash or whatever. Um, it was just a cool way to play the game back in the day with Maple Story, and it got me actually excited to log in, not just to play the game, but to check my shop. Like I was always so excited to like log in and be like, "Yo, what did I sell?" Like, did someone message me for that super expensive item? So yeah, like that is something that I hope for trade. I hope that they don't go the generic like auction house route where it's just like it takes all the player interaction out, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I do like there's a good feeling in like someone coming to your hideout, you grabbing that item, right, giving it to them. There's a good interactive feeling with that. It's just I think the in between of that is where it's not, there's a little bit a difference. And yeah, I kind of lost what I was gonna say. Shoot.
That's all good.
No, just the market, I think it just gets flushed out in the end game. So I think initially it's really fun, but when you get to
Mhm.
that final end game and then you have like this 7 filters of items and you're just waiting there, it becomes that's where I think they might need to fix it and yeah, yeah, kind of refine that. Like maybe that the end game tier aspect of it somehow. I don't know. That's just my perspective. I like
Absolutely.
the yeah, yeah, and I like the vision. I totally get. I played MMOs where you have like your trader and you put the items in. A person runs by, they click on it, they see the items for the price, they grab it, the money goes in there, you go and you see that they sold. And that could be something that they, works something similar to that.
Yeah, as sort of something that Dead Rabbit mentioned, he talked about how like the trade system actually functions really well when like the league is popping off, but the inherent downfall of that is that as the league sort of slowly dies down, which every aRPG does, it becomes increasingly more and more difficult to interact with it to the point where now like the very few players that are trying to play the game, like they can't sell their shit, like they can't find the person online to buy that particular item anymore. And so that like sort of spectrum like sort of shrinks as the player base shrinks. So I think they need to think about something that like can function well throughout an entire league cycle and not something that functions well at the beginning and then functions like poorly at the end essentially.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. Exactly. Just kind of and I think that's really a time thing. That's more they're really front loaded on what they've already done and the full progress. It goes back to what you pointed out too, is that I don't think that they can commit to one thing in the long term too much because if they do, I think they're kind of forced to only go in that direction. So we have this kind of bad market, bad end game, not bad, but like something that needs to be reworked. It isn't working. The current system is not something that's long term viable.
Yeah, and I mean, the silver lining is that it pushed us to play HCSSF, and now we get to enjoy the
Yeah.
game in this whole other awesome way. And I'm having trouble coming up with reasons to log into Trade League ever. Like even if they redo the whole thing, like I don't know, I just like the way this is, and I don't think that I ever would have tried that if the trade system wasn't shit. So that's like the caveat is like if they make the trade system so good, no one's gonna come play HCSSF anymore because they'll be like fine with playing Trade League. You know what I mean? So yeah,
We
we'll
need
see how it
players.
all. Yeah, we
We
need
need
we need
players for Timmy's
representation.
league.
Yes, dude, we need more people in Timmy's league. We just need more people in HCSSF. It's just such a good time. Um, so yeah, just a couple closing out questions. This is gonna kind of be more like general stuff about you and gaming. So yeah, like generally speaking, bro, like you've been playing games for like your whole life right now. Like
Mhm.
how big of an impact on gaming has gaming had on your life? And like, dude, what do games mean to you, man?
Like I told you, I've been playing games my whole life. Or at least since I was really, really young. And for me, I think it's been a huge part of everything. It's been a big reason why I think I have so much balance with things. Like I've always been busy, but I've always found time to play video games, and that's kind of taught me to be like uh video games have taught me to be value my time, right? So when I have time to play, like, I'm doing everything so I have time to play, and my vision is always like spend more time with friends, family, game. So I think that's a really good thing for video games. And then another thing is like I've met my friends in real life, but I bonded a lot through games. Like I've been playing video games with them for like almost 20 years now, the same kind of group of guys. And yeah, we've just like going to a concert, just like going out, anything you bond and you have memories in video games, and they give you these experiences that yeah, just like anything in life. So that's why I value video games a lot. Um, yeah, and if you really want to look at it, video games, right? You can, if you play shooters, you get quick reflexes, puzzles, games like Path of Exile make you think in the future, make you think long term, make you overcome short term problems and really like think differently, think creatively, and yeah, that's why I think video games are going to continue to grow, and hopefully, uh, you know, corporate America and corporate greed doesn't dilute the beauty of video games. Luckily, we have small indie studios and guys that like us who are talented developers and make really good games. And yeah, we get to enjoy them. And yeah, I feel like video games we were going off track a little bit with some stuff, but we're coming back, and video games are getting really good again. And there's a lot of really good options. And yeah, I love video games. I love games.
I like games. I like talking about games. I like playing
Exactly.
games. Yeah, dude, it's
Exactly. Yeah.
I think what you said is 100% correct. I think we're kind of going through this like renaissance of video games right now where like all of these developers started off as like small indie developers at some point. Like Blizzard was started in like some dude's garage, and they all grew to these like monumental like industry titans. And as you grow in size, you have to worry about like your return on your investment, making sure the investors are happy. There's a lot of, the games get more expensive. There has to be more of a desire to sell more copies of this game, and so it has to be more sort of targeted for a general wider audience. And I think that's like diluted like the joy of games. Where like some people, I think most people who made games that were the games that they wanted to make, regardless of how many things it would sell or like appealing to the return on investment, those are the games that
Mhm.
are the fucking bangers, dude. Like every single time, you know what I mean? Like the ones that had a clear
Yeah. Yeah.
vision, didn't deviate from it, and just they made the game they wanted to make, no matter how many people are going to play it. Like, bro, yeah, that's the way I feel like we're coming full circle back to sort of that with the rise of basically indie developers, which I'm super supportive of.
Yeah. And I think players are gravitating, right? We become more aware. I think social media and strip, we're kind of venturing into a different, to just gaming, but all of that has added a different aspect and a layer to gaming. And that's where we come, where you made a good point with the Renaissance is I think we're starting to form around that, where that media aspect, that heavy monetization aspect of gaming, and how they're introducing brands into games, and certain games are being built around narratives, not the game itself. And yeah, thankfully we have small, like I said, small developers that are doing what they need to do, and we get good games. And yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones out there, and I think we're in a great spot in gaming. We were talking about this with the beginning of the stream, where what game is really memorable, and it's like I played so many games when I was younger where they have this nostalgia, but the great games are really today. Like we're getting to experience the best of the best every day, and yeah, it's awesome. I'm grateful for that. I love, and I'm looking forward to more of that.
It's a great time to be a gamer because not only are we able to experience what's coming out right now, which is like a lot of really cool stuff, but we also can just go back in time and play any game that we want to, essentially, from any period, which is like insane. So it's kind of like we're just being at the forefront. I wanted to talk to you about sort of the social aspect of gaming for a little bit. Like, I know you said you had like these homies that you like game with, you've been gaming with for like 20 years. And I think that's
Mhm.
like a super important part of gaming for me as well. Like, during COVID, like I kind of got it introduced like right before COVID to a bunch of homies playing Counter Strike. Like we played a lot of Counter Strike Go and CS2 now and stuff like that as well. And dude, every night we were logging in. It was like playing. We would do 10 mans, bro. We would rent like we would have a service where we could do 5-on-5, and it would be random teams with captains, and we would choose our own teammates, all of the homies. And like playing Counter-Strike's fun, but playing Counter-Strike with 9 other friends, and when you like shoot someone down mid and you one tap them and you know that they're on the other line being like, fucking Blaze just got me with a lucky one tap, like that shit was sick. And then we ended up meeting up in Vegas for my 30th birthday. We all like there was a bunch of the homies are from Salt Lake, so they drove down from Salt Lake. We met up in Vegas. We gamed with a bunch of Toronto homies too, so it was like a huge reunion. And then they came up to Toronto as well, and we rented like an cafe room where there was like 10 PCs. We all pulled up and we were just gaming Counter Strike together. And yeah, it's actually brought me like really really powerful relationships. Like I'm going to some of those homies' weddings. Like and I've only met them like 3 or 4 times, like IRL. So gaming like actually brings people together, and that's like one of the dopest parts about it for me, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think pretty much like that. I've kind of always gamed. I've met friends online that I've gamed with, where I gamed with them first, and then I met them on, like, they live close by. So like it's awesome, the scope, and especially today. One of the benefits, right? There's negatives and positives with the way media and the way we can connect with each other, right? And one of the positives is there's so many cool people, like people in this community that you can meet, and yeah, you just make some lifelong, genuine connections that are cool. Yeah.
Absolutely, dude. All right, man. One final question that I want to wrap up this with. We've already been at an hour, 2 hours, guys. If you listened to the podcast this far, thank you so much for listening. It's a pleasure to do these conversations with such awesome people. I really love it. So I know you haven't been like streaming for that long, but I just wanted to ask you, like, from your experience, like, what could you recommend? Let's say we got some homies who are thinking about starting up a stream, getting into content creation. Like, is there any advice that you'd want to give to those people to kind of help them like get started on their journey?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still very small, where I consider myself. I'm extremely small, but I'm extremely grateful. So the one little advice like I can give that I've learned is, sometimes you get in your head about ideas that you should do, whether it's a YouTube video, YouTube channel, streaming, whatever it is. Just do it. Stop thinking about it. Do it. Turn that live on and figure it out. Right? Just go. So I think that's the number one thing I can say is, get those ideas out of your head and get them going, get them moving, figure it out. And then two is, with that, make a plan, and then adjust. So have an idea of what you're doing. I think that's helped me, is like just having a direction with Path of Exile, right? With knowing, like, seeing the community, being a part of it, like I have a direction with it, and I think that helps a lot. So yeah, I think those two things are what helped me grow the little bit of community that I have, that I'm grateful for. Yeah.
Absolutely, dude. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. One thing that you mentioned was YouTube stuff. Just as sort of a side note, I noticed that you kind of started dabbling in that stuff. Is there anything that we can expect from you in the near or distant future on the YouTube side of things?
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking to upload more in the future. I think the goal would be 1 to 2 videos a month, to close out the year. I'm working on a hardcore SSF guide that's going to be coming out towards the beginning of the league. Other than that, it'll probably just be shorts like that of just hardcore SSF moments for now. But yeah, I'm gonna keep growing that, and yeah, we'll see where it takes us.
I love that, dude. That was my first ever YouTube video, so I look forward to seeing sort of your perspective on that. And I think you have more hours than me at this point now in hardcore solo self-found. So I'm looking forward to seeing sort of how you can guide people and share your insights. That's gonna be awesome, man. All right. Well, at this point in the podcast, it's that time, guys, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time. We got to get Pav to shout himself out. So, where can we find you, and what are you working on?
So I'm at LePav, LEPAV underscore, at LePav underscore on all socials, which is just really YouTube, Twitch, and then Twitter. Twitter, you're not gonna really find anything other than just memes and me maybe making some memes. So, but yeah, YouTube and Twitch are gonna be primary. And then, like I said, I'm gonna be releasing build videos, tip videos, just kind of funny stuff on YouTube. And then streaming, I stream every day. Usual time is going to be around 7 to 8 a.m. PST. Sometimes it varies because I do work full time. So it kind of varies. I have a Discord, so I keep everyone up to date in that Discord. Yeah, other than that, excited for the update, excited for everything that's upcoming. And yeah, Blaze, thank you so much for having me on, dude. This was a lot of fun. It flew by, and I'm looking forward to seeing more from you, dude. You got a lot of good work coming.
Dude, thank you so much. Guys, as always, we will be leaving links to LePav's Twitch in the description. I might even throw his Discord in there if you guys want to, keep in touch with him on Discord and stuff like that. Thank you so much, bro. It's been an absolute pleasure. And you're so right. These 2 hours have flown by. It's amazing how time passes when you're just yapping about games and stuff like that. But it's been a pleasure. So I can't wait to hang out in your stream more and listen to music and watch a game and hopefully not die.
Hell yeah, brother. I'm looking forward to hanging out in your stream and just really seeing more videos, dude. Your quality is great, and that's the type of content I want to support in this type of community. We need this. And then if I can just give a few shout outs to a few people that have helped me a ton. Prada, big one, Glitched, Rabbit, Timmy, Nug, Naysayer, yeah, all the people that support my stream that have rated that I can't think of right now off the top of my head. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm really grateful for that. And everyone that comes and watches, all the people that are gifted, thank you so much. I appreciate all of you guys. And yeah.
Love it. Dude, we got a great community here, man. And it's only going to get better with more people coming in and point one updates. So, yeah, thank you so much again, dude. It's been an absolute blast. And we will see you guys in the next one. Peace, y'all. All right, everybody. That wraps it up for this episode of the Passive Tree Podcast. If you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate a like and subscribe for more PoE2 content. I have a bunch more episodes of the podcast lined up with some really great guests, so keep your eyes peeled for that. If you're interested in supporting the podcast and the channel, consider supporting through Patreon. There's a link in the video description. A special shout out to Kevin F. for supporting this channel. I appreciate you. Thank you. And until next time, happy blasting, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.